Hi, welcome back to the Emanations of Light Podcast. Welcome to this week's podcast, everybody. For those who are new to my podcast, I'm Audrey. I serve as a Divine Sovereign Ascension Guide, healer, and multidimensional artist. All my links will be provided in the description page if you desire to work with me, and also where you can now subscribe to my new newsletter and or purchase any of my sacred malas from my Etsy shop at Divine Sparks of Light. So welcome back to this week's episode where I'm going to talk about self-love, forgiveness, and self-care. It's all about love. So I hope that everyone is doing well after, that first wave of this last eclipse that we just had. And, hang tight, everybody, because I think we're about to go into another partial lunar eclipse, I believe on the 27th or the 28th. And I know for me, it's definitely hit me and my chart. And I'm not too much into astrology, but I kind of think it did. And it definitely has forced me to, do some cleaning up and cleaning house and focus on areas of my life where perhaps needed some attention. So then last week I was really out of it and I couldn't get my thoughts together. So I wasn't able to get anything out for you. But it also gave me a chance actually to go, a little deeper within, do some excavating and access more self-awareness. And then also some of the self-love and self-care that I needed to apply to myself. And this is actually why I was actually then prompted to share this emanation. It's been in the background, but it's kind of like, I don't know how to put this together. But, this emanation on self-love and what that really means in our lives. So, first of all, I think for most of us, we really have had this like distorted view of what love means, right? Because the love we've learned always came with condition or conditions, right? So, and that's not real love, but in order to fully comprehend what love really means, first, we must learn to, apply that love to ourselves. So it's a good way to take a look at all the ways that we have, either self-abandoned ourselves, our peace in the name of this conditional love. And so let's call this love with strings, because that's what it really is, right? But also, it's really important for us to remember how to apply self-forgiveness, because it's not like we knew it was conditional. And you know what? Honestly, we're all guilty of it because that's the way we've been conditioned. And I know for me in the past, I had love with conditions. And it's not until I actually went through my own holy initiations and have learned to embody the Holy Mother's Codex of the Book of Love, true love, the Christos path. And trust me, it's been painful and it hasn't been an easy process because it strips you of all the false mask, the defense mechanisms that we put up as a form of protection. For me, it's been vulnerable. Oh my gosh, that's like one of my poisons. So going through the spiritual true awakening journey is one of the most difficult, yet the most courageous acts one can embark on. But it all depends on when your spirit is ready and how far you're willing to go. And there are many layers and layers to peel back. And a lot of times we're not even conscious that we have some of these blind spots and that we haven't been able to, to get to and, go into those deeper layers of, the, unconscious beliefs or whatever, and I know that I've been there, so it's like increments. Most believe that being spiritual is all about love and light. It's like toxic positivity. I just heard that and I'm like, oh, I love that term. But in reality, it's actually what it does. It negates our true feelings. ourselves. And that's actually called spiritual bypassing. And I'll be doing an episode on that soon, just because I know it's such an important topic to fully comprehend. But now we'll just kind of stick to love. So, true love is really about looking at ourselves honestly and see where we seek outside of ourselves for love with conditions, right? And it could look like a lot of things, but I'm just going to give some examples. So it can look like people pleasing, seeking external validation, lack of self-respect, a shaming program, victim mentality, guilt, overconsumption, addictions, whether that's to power, success, vanity, exercise, eating disorders, need for attention, or not feeling enough, and so forth. Again, these are just to name a few. The key is to look how we use some of these habits and traits to mask something, because it's something we're masking. And it can kind of feel like an unidentified lack, a void inside of sorts. And everyone is different. So it's really about getting to know yourself more fully, having a really deep, intimate connection with your inner self and your thoughts. But once you can identify some of these patterns, you can more easily begin to not only understand yourself, but also begin to heal yourself, love yourself, right? So this is why applying self-love is a great place to start, because it begins to release the triggers that we may be carrying. Remember, being human is complex, and we have a lot of going on in our lives, minds, programming, belief systems, energetic surroundings, waveforms, entities, the unseen spiritual world. So it can be a combination of things. But I'm going to give an example. So for example, when I find a wound, meaning that something that creates like a trigger within me, right? Usually it's a self-judgment, by the way. That bully we have in our heads. Well, I have a really big one, or I had. She's getting a little bit lesser. My body begins to feel really, really uncomfortable. It gets hot, right? And then I begin to apply self-love to myself. And even though I might not even be totally sure where it's coming from, where the trigger came from, whatever, right? What I do is I place my hand over my heart and create a biofeedback. And then I start to reassure myself, apply self-love. And I talk to my inner child, my body, my soul, and I just tell her it's okay, and whatever else that I feel that she may need to hear. And for me, it's amazing how quickly this works. My mind calms down. I'm able to get back into my heart. My body feels relaxed, and then I'm back to normal. Well, my normal. This process works really good for me, especially when fear arises. And it's a way to soothe myself and soothe my nervous system, and then also gets me out of my mind, right? It definitely takes practice, but, find something that works for you. There's a plethora of things that you can practice. But the aim is to get yourself into your heart space, because this is where that love resides. Our hearts are amazing technology. And when we can live from that space, we can feel safe. And honestly, that's unconditional love. Unconditional love feels safe. It doesn't condemn you. It doesn't judge you, or it doesn't make you feel guilty. It simply is love. And that's within you. So this is where also forgiveness comes in, right? Remember, we're not perfect, and we're not going to be perfect. And self-acceptance is a great way to begin your spiritual journey. Never mind what others may think, they say, or do, and sometimes perhaps want from you. Learning to be unconditional loving for thyself is and should be priority. No more self-sacrificing yourself because of others' expectations. That's love with strings. And honestly, that keeps you stuck, tethered, unhappy, and definitely not sovereign in any way. Becoming awake encompasses us to become more self-conscious, individuated, self-sovereign, and responsible for our growth and our spiritual development. And this includes self-parenting our wounded aspects. Remember, no one can do this for you. Ascension is an inside job, and no being is going to come save you. That was just an inverted teaching to keep you powerless. Self-governance, really. And it all starts with self-love, self-care, self-respect, and self-forgiveness. It takes so much time, and but it's worth it. So take time to dedicate some time to yourself in any way you can, because A, you're important, you matter, and you can do this. We all can do this. And if you need help with navigating this process, reach out to those who can really hold space for you without conditions. Self-love and healing is an ongoing process. So go easy on yourself. Spiritual growth is a journey, not a race, which I have to keep reminding myself. And it takes time to unlearn the many ways that we've been conditioned and begin to embody our true divine selves. The spiritual self and teachings are more than just conceptual. It's about becoming, it's about becoming a walking Christic sovereign being, embodiment. And that's what embodiment really means. So, okay, my dear friends, I hope you found this emanation useful, and I hope you've enjoyed it. And I'll be back next week with some more exciting topics. But I will leave you with some morsels of divine love in the description box. I'll leave you with links to some tools, of course, right? First of all, the Magdalene Codex, the Holy Mother's Book of Love, where you can learn about embodying some of these, 144 divine qualities of love that get you to becoming, sovereign and feeling this essence of true love. And then I am also posting my link to my new publication, which is now available, where you can find some practical tips and grounded advice for your journey. And of course, if you desire to book a one-on-one session with me, you will have all those links below. And I just, I send you so much love, and, we got this. And it's a journey, and that's pretty much it. So I'm going to just leave it there. Bye for now, and mucho, mucho, mucho amor. I love you. I love you. I love you. Bye.